Good morning, teacher. Today we are going to talk to you about the most important topics we saw in Unit 4 and Unit 5. For starting, our group is conformed by Natalie Vaca, Camila Lozada, Denef Marquetan, Christian Parco, and my person, Diana Rodriguez. In this way, we are going to start talking about questions with whose. So, we use whose when we want to ask or we want to tell who is the owner or who has something, you know. In Spanish, the meaning could be de quién es esto o a quién le pertenece esto. It is used as a possessive pronoun and it is used alone when the meaning is clear. So if we have a sentence that we have, that's a nice car, whose is it? So we are asking who's the owner of the car. In this way, we have to ask with possessive pronouns. So we have to use mine, yours, his, hers, ours, theirs. In all the possessive pronouns, we have to answer. For example, we have, who's that red car? We can say that it is mine, it is his, it is hers, or we can give answers according to the person who owns the car or who owns the object we are talking about.
If we want to say that something belongs to us, we can say it in two different ways. The first one is with possessive nouns, a noun that possesses something. We can use it in singular and in plural. In singular, we'll just add an apostrophe and an s to the noun. Here are some examples. It's John's. It's John's phone. It's Tom and Anna's. It's Tom and Anna's phone. They're John's. They're John's case. They're Tom and Anna's. They're Tom and Anna's case. However, in plural is different because the noun already ends with a s. So we'll just add an apostrophe to it. Here's some examples. It's the manager's. It's the manager's phone. They're the managers. They're the manager's phones. Any of these ways is correct. The other way to say that something belongs to us is using possessive pronouns, a pronoun that replace the noun. And just like this is how we use it. I, my, mine. You, your, yours. He, his, his. She, her, hers. It's, its. We, ours. You, your, yours. And finally, they, theirs. Some examples, we can use it in my case, and your phone, her cup, and different ways in sentences.
I will talk about comparative adjectives. Use comparative adjectives to compare two people, places, or things. Also, use them when you use a comparative adjectives in front of a noun. There are 5 rules. The first is, for most one-syllable adjectives, we add er for the comparative. For example, tall, taller than, small, smaller than. We don't forget the word than. The second rule, for two-syllable adjectives ending in y, drop the y and we add IER. For example, lazy, lazier than, happy, happier than. The third rule, for one-syllable adjectives ending in one vowel plus one consonant, double the final consonant and we add ER. For example, fat, fatter than, big, bigger than. The fourth rule. For most adjectives with two or more syllables, use more or less plus the adjectives. For example, beautiful, more beautiful than, dangerous, more dangerous than. And finally, some adjectives have irregular forms. For example, good, better than, bad, worse than. And we can see some sentences. The earth is larger than the moon. Comics are funnier than magazines. Elephants are bigger than horses. And learning Japanese is more difficult than learning Italian. Thank you.
Hi everyone, continue with the grammar presentation. I'm going to present the present continuous and the present continuous for the future. So when do we use the present continuous and the present continuous for the future? We use the present continuous both to talk about things we are doing right now and to comment on what we already plan to do in the future. For example, in present continuous, an example is I'm driving home. It's an action that is happening right now. And the present continuous for the future, I'm driving home next week. Here we can see a little difference in the complement. So let's analyze this in the grammar structure. The grammar structure is subject plus verb to be and not to be in negative form, plus verb ing form, and the complement. An example is I am working right now. Guess what sentence is it? It's the present continuous. And I'm working in next week is the present continuous for the future. The only difference is in the complement, no more. The complement, for the present continuous for the future is different to the present continuous in the only way we want to express something that we plan. For example, it could be days, hours, places, and dates. And that's my presentation. Hope you like, and goodbye.
And finally, we're going to talk about the use of will. We use will to talk about future plans, rapid decisions, offer, promise, threat, and refusal. But in those both, we use want, which is the negative form of will. As example of rapid decision, I'm dirty. I think I will buy a drink. As example of offer, that looks heavy. I will help you. As example of promise, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. As example of threat, if you don't, I will tell your mother. And as example of refusal, she won't listen to anything I say. Well, let's talk about the grammar structure of will. Will is used like an auxiliary, so we didn't need to change the verb. The verb is in the base form, even in the third person. Thank you. Thank you for watching. This is all for our presentation.